let me just say what a pleasure it is. In this space right now is some of the most incredibly creative talent on the planet, right here, right now. And today is going to be a day where you get a chance not only to hear from some incredible people, to be part of the conversation through all these roundtables. So really enjoy yourselves with these roundtables. We, VES, we are a global organization, so parts of today's festivities will be live streamed around the world. So you might be hearing from some other people who you don't physically see, but they'll get a chance to see what's going on. So hey everybody, whoever's out there, hope you're enjoying the festivities as well. Also, there are some surveys that are at the table. Please, at some point today, try to fill it out and leave it behind. There's a box somewhere, or just leave it on the table. We'll come pick it up. But before we get started, what I wanted to say is that an event like this really doesn't happen by itself. So many people work so very long and hard, and we also have to, try to get some corporate sponsorship. So before we get started, just wanted to say thanks to Houdini Side Effects Software for our visual imagery panel. Want to say thanks to Digital Canvas, Gen Arts for our roundtables. Want to say thanks to Rotomaker, who's our keynote sponsor. Want to say thanks to Method Studios and to Technicolor. So big round of applause to all of our sponsors. We've got media partners. We've got Deadline.com, Variety, The Wrap, and The Hollywood Reporter. So really pleased to have all of them on board. I want to thank VES staff who's been working around the clock for the last number of weeks. Tiffany O'Brien, Colleen Kelly, Jeff Casper, Ben Schneider, Nancy Ward, and especially Brent Armstrong. So a big round of applause to the VES staff. And then you've got the Summit Organizing Committee. You see, this doesn't happen unless lots of people get to do what they need to do to make sure that you can have efficient time where you're getting things done that you wanted to do on a Saturday morning, like doing errands or coming to the summit. Hopefully, when you come to the summit, you have really quality time with all your colleagues. And the people who put this together, who took a year to put this together, they are the Summit Organizing Committee: Pam Hogarth, Warren Franklin, Sharon Berlin, Ruth Hauer, Randy Starr, Colin Ritchie, Julie Miller, Bob Coleman, Jeff Foken, and our fearless leader, our chair, Rita Cahill. So big round of applause for everybody on the team. So the sponsor for our keynote is Rotomaker, and Rotomaker is, just so you're aware, for those of you who are not, is the complete outsourcing solution for visual effects and 3D conversion post-production facilities worldwide. Rotomaker provides cost-effective solutions in rotoscoping, paint, keying, wire removal, cleanup, and match move services. Unfortunately, they're becoming new friends with us, but they couldn't be here today. But we want to make sure to give them a really warm welcome. So please say thank you to Rotomaker. So to formally get us started, I'd like to introduce one of our committee members who will be the person who will lead the interview that's coming up. That's Randy Starr. Randy has been one of our key committee members for the last number of years. He's a visual effects producer. He's worked on San Andreas, Into the Storm, Journey 2, The Mysterious Island. He's produced 2D, 3D conversions. He's worked on Cats and Dogs. He's done worked at 11 conversion facilities around the world. He's an incredibly wonderful resource for anyone in the industry, and especially for those of us on the committee, and he's an all-around good guy. So please welcome Randy Starr.
I think I'm going to need this for just a couple of minutes, exactly. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, and welcome here on a Saturday. I've got the honor of introducing our keynote speaker, and I must say that one of my favorite aspects of our industry is the journey that we take to get to this particular place we're at. Sometimes our journeys are straight and narrow. We go right to the thing that we want to do, and sometimes it's very circuitous. We come around a corner, but nonetheless, the journey that our keynote speaker Victoria Alonso has taken is no less interesting and fascinating. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Victoria went to the school to study psychology and drama with a knack for political activism. You see, Victoria grew up in a family of strong women, and so she was destined to bring her passion and her intense desire to entertain to everything that she touched. Because her family said she can do anything. Victoria moved to Los Angeles when she was 19. And she quickly began her journey in the film industry as a PA, as most of us probably have. Victoria went on to work her way through various film jobs before arriving at Digital Domain to start her entrance into the visual effects industry. Victoria had a knack for producing, and so she went on to produce her own movie, Sordid Lives, and a short film, Braceface Randy, while she was doing her day job as a visual effects producer. And about 7 years ago, a small upstart company, Marvel, was interested in energizing their content and infusing their movies with eye-popping visuals. They turned to Victoria. Victoria went on to co-produce Iron Man, and from there went on to co-produce 3 other movies for Marvel: Thor, Iron Man 2, Captain America, while serving as the Executive Vice President of Visual Effects at Marvel. So currently Victoria is the executive producer on all Marvel films. We know the titles, so please don't make me name them all because there's quite a few of them. So her unique position, though, at Marvel is what brings us here today, because her position blends the creative and production management aspects of movie making, and that's what we are here today to discuss with her. So before we bring her up, and I can only say that her passion and her drive to inspire us, the audience, with good quality movie making is no less and nothing short of contagious. I am honored to introduce our keynote speaker, Victoria Alonso. Test. So as you can see, we've chosen a little bit of a different format here this morning rather than standing in front of a podium. So Victoria gave me a call and said, Randy, would love to kind of do a little bit of a question and answer, a little bit of an interview type of format. So I'm just going to loft up some softball questions for Victoria and let her knock them out of the park. So,
but before you do that,
please.
Hello. Thank you for coming. The reason why I wanted to do kind of like a Q&A thing is because I really don't think that you want me to talk at you. I figured I'd talk with you through Randy, who's a good channeler. So if none of you are interested in the question, somebody has to yell from out there and go, no, I don't want it. Because it's your time. You woke up early, you took a shower on time, you battled traffic, you said goodbye to the kids. I'm missing soccer this morning. And the pumpkin patch, okay, all the way in Thousand Oaks. So I may be getting photos on my phone at some time, but anyway, you get to vote. If you don't want to hear it, I want to see it. But don't sit there and then go tell people when you leave here, oh my God, it was so boring. I wanted to hear something. So there you go. So be it.
Well, to that end, we do have some microphones somewhere in the general area. There's one here, gentleman, very stylish hat over here. He's got microphone. So if there's at some point we might actually spin it out. There's another microphone there. We might spin it out and ask some questions of you guys or have you guys ask questions of us. So let me get started.
Okay.
Why did you get involved in the film business?
Okay. When I was in Argentina, I ran with the right crowd for a little while and then the other crowd. The right crowd was the people that studied a lot. The wrong crowd were the political thinkers. It was the wrong crowd in somebody else's opinion, not mine. Chances are, if I would have not gone to work and play at the theater with the right crowd, I probably would have gotten killed in some manifestation out there fighting for taking down the dictatorship. I usually will be in the front line. Oh, what a surprise. with the banner. So my mom kept saying, I understand you want to go there, but can you not be in the back? Can you not be, just sit in the back? And I kept saying, no, we have to hold the banner. So when my friend Bettina said, let's go to the theater, I wanted to hang out with her. So we started doing theater, and I started acting for children's theater. And that sort of, it was fun, and it was a theater that didn't have a lot of money, and we started to do a lot of the things, we had to actually build the sets and do all of the stuff. And then when I moved to the States, I thought that I wanted to do acting, but I realized I didn't want to do it because I was either too tall, too short, too fat, too thin, too big of an accent, not big of an accent, too white for Hispanic, not too white for the Hispanic they wanted. Are you Hispanic? Really? Latina? What are you? And I said, who makes the decisions? The producers. Okay. How do I get there?
So that's how you chose producing, is because you wanted to be able to make those decisions.
I wanted to have some sort of control over my life. I wanted to figure out that I wanted to go somewhere that I could control somehow.
Well, it's clearly that it fits you very well. That's all I can say. So let's talk about the Marvel process, because I think we're here to talk about how Marvel does their decisions. So clearly the Marvel creative process is highly successful, certainly the most successful in recent memories that we can think of. So can you describe the story development process at Marvel, how you come up with your stories?
Well, I think it's a collaboration. We start from the comics, then clearly we have ideas on how we can perhaps make it better for the film medium, because some things play really well on paper, but they don't really play when you have moving picture. We are led by one of the smartest men I know, who's Kevin Feige, and Lou D'Esposito as well. And together with all of our guys, it's a collaboration. And we start with an idea, but we have a cinematic universe that talks to each other. So we are quite respectful of some of the things that we talked about. I didn't say hello to everybody I knew. I'm sorry. So if I go like that, it's because I recognize a face. So sorry about that. The idea of there's one idea is never what actually works for us. There's hundreds of ideas, and we throw them out, and what sticks, we go with it. And sometimes what we think is going to go in a treatment form or in a script form doesn't really work when we shoot it. So then we try to find it later on after shooting it.
But all this happens in proverbially the boardroom at Marvel. The collective group is there.
It happens everywhere. It happens in the bathroom. It happens everywhere. It happens in the parking lot. It happens when you're going. It happens when you're talking on the phone. When you're texting.
The bathroom.
I have to knock on the boys' bathroom because it's just me, right? And they don't come to the girls' bathroom. But we've had a couple of moments where I'm like, "Stop that meeting! I need to hear that." So I didn't quite walk in because they all went. I was like, "Come on."
So from there, it gets to the script process that we all know, right? So you germinate those ideas and then give them off to a writer. Is there any story development in visual form at that point? Is there any
We have visual
storyboarding?
form all the time. Clearly, we start from the comics, so that we have plenty visual. Then we have a visual development team that any studio should be so proud and happy to have, and is led by Ryan Manderling, and it's a phenomenal artist. And what they do for us is they define the costumes, they define the look of our key members of our teams, and then they also define some key concept stills that sometimes that's what inspires a whole scene. We take that key image and we go, there's definitely a scene here. This needs to be in the movie because it's so compelling that we definitely want to have it.
Interesting. So clearly your visuals are really well developed before the written word is put down there.
Yeah, and also it's not something that, we do this here and that there and that. It is ever flowing. We're always creating. I mean, we're creating at the premiere. We're always creating. It's just we don't stop creating. I mean, the shawarma scene that we shot for Avengers 1 was done after the, right there at the premiere because we had all of our cast and we had to do it. So some territories have the shawarma scene and some don't have it. Why? Because we couldn't get all the actors together to shoot it, so we had to do it, and that was our button scene. So there's no rest for the wicked.
Clearly not. Clearly not. Well, as your role as executive producer on these films, again, as I said in my introduction, you have such a unique position because you bring your visual effects background onto that tapestry. So, describe your position in that, your place in that story development process.
Well, I'm the voice that doesn't really know comics, nor do I want to give you my money on a Saturday to pay for that movie. I know, shocking. I probably will get fired after this. You are streaming live, right? Yeah. I am not a comic book fan. I have become a fan. But if I have a choice between a political thriller, as you know, or a love story and a comic book movie, I probably won't pay that money. So I am the person that you have to win at the table. So I would probably say, I think that's just baloney. I don't want to watch that. I think that's boring, and I don't think we should treat the girl that way, and I don't think that he should do that. And listen, sometimes I get voted out and I go to the island, and sometimes they listen. You know, we have the island process. I'm sure you all heard about it, but
what is the island process, sir?
Well, we all get to say...
Where you go?
We go away. We paddle to the island by ourselves and think about what we just said. I started this a long time ago because I talk funny. So when I get tired, like Spanish and English gets all mixed up, and I just talk funny. And I once said, listen, I might be alone on this, but I think blah, blah, blah. And they all looked at me and they went, no. I said, fine, I'll just get on my boat and paddle to the island, and I'll just commiserate with myself. And then somehow we always say that. So now everybody in the room is like, you go to the island, start paddling. That's not going to work. That's a bad idea. But we all have a chance to say what we want to say, and we are heard. And the one thing I would say about Marvel is that it's one of the most collaborative places that you can find. And because I am a geek, but I'm not a comic book fan. Very different, right? Slowly but surely, they've been winning my heart, and I think Guardians of the Galaxy just about did it. I think that's the one that I have been converted, and I can honestly say I'm a comic book fan.
What was it about that converted you?
I don't know. I love
Come
that
on.
movie. I like all of our movies. Guardians had my heart very early on, and I always said there was a movie we wouldn't do, and Kevin told me to get used to it, and we were going to do it. And I said it for a long time, and for a long time he said, we're doing this movie, so get used to it. And I went, okay. The fact that a tree can give his life for his friends, a bunch of misfits could find a group of people. Is that Brooke? Hi, Brooke. That a bunch of... a tree is something that you never think will give you life in the human way, and a raccoon is a character that perhaps you want to go run away for the hills. And it was just the mixture of people, and sometimes I feel like so many of us in the visual effects world are a mixture of misfits, perhaps not company included, but I look around and I go, most of us in our homes or in our social settings when we were before we are now, we're very different people, and we have found our way by doing what we do as artists. And I think that's sort of like, for me, the biggest lesson of Guardians, that you can find your pod, that you can be the best that you can be, that perhaps you can do your wrong in a right way, and that some people will love you and it will not be exactly as you are, and that's okay.
And speaking of Guardians, as you just went through the tree and the raccoon and the other aspects of that movie, again, as your position as executive producer, is there any point in the process of that story development that you go, you know what? We're just never going to be able to make a really good-looking raccoon in digital.
No. I should be fired. I should be fired.
Well,
That day-
this is streaming live, so
Yeah, well, listen, I may not have a job and I may just come and ask all of you for one when I'm done with this. But no, our journey, I mean, the one thing about visual effects, and this is the one thing that I would say to all of you that got up early this morning, and I appreciated that you're here in this beautiful setting, quite loud with Hollywood Boulevard behind us, but hey, it's Hollywood. We can create what is not there. And as hopefully the UN feels that they can create peace that is not there, we can create the imagery that is not there. The fact that you people have that power, it's an amazing power to have. If you look at our movies, when there is the first cut with nothing in them, no backgrounds, no characters, none of it, you just look at a string of performances that usually are solid. But they don't have a playground to thrive and shine. We have that power. For anyone to say we can't do it, it's not. Please don't ever say that. You can't do it because you don't have enough time. I get that. Time is the enemy. Time is the four-letter word that comes with us in every movie. There's one enemy, and it's time. Time will get you every single chance it got. But we can do anything. And that is how we look at it. That is how we look at it anytime. Listen, that's how we look at it even when we have 2 hours to go. That's why sometimes I say to our vendors, it's like, careful what you wish for, because we will push it to the nth degree for what you have seen is our outcome. But we push and push and push. Why? Because we say we can't. There's been times where I've said, we're not doing this, because I knew time will not allow it, and because there's no reason to embarrass ourselves. If you're not plussing, we're not winning. So our conversation consistently is, are you plussing it, or are you just doing it because you're in this Christmas list that you've gone through? It's like, you got the list. Now, this was the other list in case you had time and money. Well, we don't have it. So we're not going through that list.
very interesting. So, can I move on to the movie making process in general?
Yes. Are you guys all interested, or are you falling asleep
Yeah,
on me?
yes,
Yeah?
good.
Are you sure?
A little temperature.
No? Okay.
Thumbs up back there. Very good.
All right.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So the movie making process. What's your favorite part of it?
All of it.
Yeah, sorry.
All of it.
Sorry,
No,
zero.
no.
Come on,
I'm
zero
going
in
to
on
give it up to
something,
you.
please.
Look, I love thinking about it. I love prepping for it. I love prepping for it knowing that none of it is going to work in my prep. I love shooting it. I love shooting 4, 5, 6 units knowing that we didn't do enough. I love the weather that comes in and shuts you down, and you have to think about that's weather shutting you down. Yeah, baby.
Somebody has received a phone call.
Woo! I don't love being away from home unless my girls can be with me, but okay. No, come on. Who's that? We're annoying someone sleeping. That's what it is. I love coming back and doing the post process. Okay, now you shut me down in volume. That's bad too. And I know you said that I'm in charge of the visual effects, but I'm also in charge of the post and the stereo. And I tell you why it's important for me to do that. For the longest time in my career, you want to switch it? Okay. For the longest time in my career, editorial fought with visual effects. That's a fight that no one wants to have. No one is not editorial's movie and is not the visual effects department's movie. That's not fair to the movie. That's people's egos going out there. Keep your ego in check. It doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't help you. It makes you feel good for about 2 seconds, and then you feel bad. The movie is the one thing that is the ego in the room. And that has been, for us at Marvel, the one thing that has been consistent through the years. We've been together now 8 years, Luke, Kevin, and I. The ego is our characters and our movie and our story. So when you protect the story, you're okay. The minute you start protecting that one person, the story will just vary to a place where it's only about that person. And we don't make those movies. You have to protect the Tony Stark storyline, as well as the Iron Man, as well as the Thor, as well as the Captain America. You have to do that. I love putting it together. I love the puzzle of taking all these pieces that some of them fit, some of them don't. The ones that don't, we thought they didn't fit over here, but they fit over there. I love the family that we've created. A lot of you guys are here. I have known you for more than 20 years. And a lot of the people that work with me side by side, they've been with me for a very long time. I love seeing their kids grow. I love holding their hands when they lose their parents. I love seeing them fall in love, and I cry when they divorce. I love going to the premiere, even if it's with pneumonia and 104 fever, which I did have on Avengers, because I had a baby at home, and I woke up every night. I worked like about 18 hours, but I was with my little one, those feeding hours that I could, those 4 hours. I was sick as a dog. I love that, and I love the fact that you invited me here today. And I tell you why. I know I'm diverting. Sorry about that. But I love the fact that you have allowed a woman to talk to you this early in the morning. There's a lot of you boys out there that probably you allow one woman, perhaps on a voice message, perhaps live, I don't know. Where are the girls? Where are the girls? You got to get these girls in here, boys. It is better when it's 50-50. I have been with you, all of you beautiful, handsome, talented, creative men in dark rooms for 2 decades. And I'm telling you, those rooms are better when there is a few of us in it. So as you take this with you, please remember that it's okay to allow the ladies in. They're smart, they're talented, there's plenty of engineers out there. They bring a balance to all of it that you need. You are incredibly smart, but we are all better as a team if we have balance. And that's what I've learned. For the longest time, I have been sort of the balancing voice, but it's hard when you're outnumbered. I mean, like you're one out of, I don't know, thousands. So this morning, I came here and I didn't go to soccer. I know I said that. Or the pumpkin patch, because I wanted to make sure that when you put this out there in live streaming and there is some 14-year-old kid in Austria or a 15-year-old in Germany or a 17-year-old in Massachusetts or somewhere else, and you want to go and become an engineer or a digital artist, ladies, you can do it. Why? Because the boys are going to be there by your side, teaching you what they know, and at times you will be there teaching them. So for me, what's important is to have a presence. I know you want to talk about Marvel, but it's so important that the message gets out there. The Gina Davis Foundation for Media and Gender says, if you don't see it, if you see it, you can be it. If you see it, you can be it. The reason why all of you gentlemen are here is because you saw it forever. Forever you have seen men, young men, and your dads do what you do. I didn't see it. I saw my mom work her butt off. She told me I could do anything I wanted to do. But I didn't see this. You out there, girls, and you ladies here today, you can do it. Well, clearly you're here, so you're doing it. But if not, empower the girls that have the talent and have the smarts so that they can lead the balance. Continue hiring the smartest men out there, but the women have it too. But what they don't have is they don't have someone that they can look up to. I used to look up to, I know this is a question I'm sure you can ask me. I'm with you, baby, I'm with you.
Great.
I used to look up to Kathy Kennedy's name. I used to say, if I'm going to be someone, who do I want to be? I want to be Kathy Kennedy. Why? I knew nothing about Kathy Kennedy, by the way, not a word. I just knew she produced E.T. and Schindler's List. If you can touch a child's heart and you can get into the adult mind of what we've done so wrong to each other, that's it. You can write your history right then and there. And when I met Kathy and I had lunch with her, I was like a kid in a candy store. I told everyone in my office, I went to every single person. I'm telling you, I was like, I'm going to meet Kathy Kennedy. Today I'm going to have lunch with Kathy Kennedy. And they're like, okay, all right. Well, okay, yeah. Well, you're so excited. I'm like, why are you having lunch with? Well, Kathy wants to have lunch, and it was like, it's so important to me. And I was like a dork. I was like, oh my God. And I told her, and I was so excited, and I said it. I gushed. I was a mess, and she had tears in her eyes, and she said, I never thought of it. I said to her, you have been that person that I look up to for so many years, and now you're here, like you're like the bubble, right? Like the reality of having, it's like when you go to Disneyland and Mickey's right there. If you see your kids that moment, it's glorious. It's like, oh my God, it's right here. And she said, I didn't even think of it. And I thought, well, there's hundreds of thousands of little girls out there that think that you are the bomb. And I am sure that there is hundreds of thousands of little girls that want to be you. I was one of them. And I want you to know what it means to us. And this is why I'm here this morning. And this is why I go to SIGGRAPH and I present. And this is why I go to Comic-Con. And this is why I go to FMX. And this is why I go to all these things. Because there's no women in these panels. I urge you, all of you, to invite us. Because we will come. Okay. I'm done.
I have no more questions. Thank you very much.
Alrighty then. Bye-bye.
So let's. I got to go back to Marvel because we're here to talk about how you
'cause
all
I love
do.
my Marvel.
You love the Marvel. There we go. So the global pipeline, in other words, using visual effects vendors from across the globe, is certainly a part of your pipeline. To you at Marvel, what is the most important thing about working globally? What's the most important aspect, if you can give us one or two, that is important to you when you work globally with different cultures and countries?
For years I have tried, if I can make a deal in the United States, I'll make it here. For years I've done that, and if you're here as a vendor, you know the pain of making that deal. Because I'd rather not take it elsewhere and get a tax credit and keep it at home. Times are changing, right? So you got to go with it. So working globally is a pleasure and an honor, except for the fact that some families are being displaced, and that hurts me personally. But it is where we are. And I think working globally brings a lot of things that we never thought we will have. A lot of the times by having teams, whether they are in Europe or Asia or South America or Canada or Australia or New Zealand, they sometimes have ideas that we don't have. So again, going back to story, which is where we really live, breathe, and sometimes hyperventilate, that's what we gain by being global. Sometimes there are ideas that come from other cultures or other people that I think the Marvel process benefits from.
From the vendors that you work with globally, is there anything in particular that you ask of them to work on a Marvel movie?
No, I ask everybody the same thing. Everyone that comes to work with us needs to understand that you will be a creative partner. We don't believe in shop makers. We believe in filmmakers. So if you're a shop maker, you might do your job just fine. But if you happen to be a filmmaker and we happen to run dry of ideas and you present that idea, we're in. We are the kind of people that you can present your ideas and say, okay, this is what you asked for, but isn't this cooler? I would say 65, 70% out of the times we'll say, yeah, it's cooler, you made it better. And we don't get, with certain production crews or directors, you can't really mess with things, especially with a cut. As long as you do what we said we thought we wanted, because we have very strong opinions about what we want, of course. But if your idea is better, your idea will live. Your idea will live. And we have had great partnerships with people that wow us all the time with stuff that we had not thought about it for the longest of time. I remember on Iron Man, I think it was Iron Man 3, there was this artist and he presented and he said, you like it? And we said, we love it. We love it. It's in the movie. And he said, I never thought I would get a chance to do that. I never thought that A, you would like that I have the courage to present. B, that you will take and run with it. C, that you would love it, and you would keep it in the film. And it made his career, his career in his heart. I mean, he had a full career. But it's just that chance to actually put forward what you believe in, and when you see it happening, then you believe even more about your conviction as an artist.
Is there anything that you look for in a new visual effects vendor to start to work with the Marvel family? As I'm sure there's quite a few of them who want to break into the family. So is there anything you look for?
I strive for honesty. And I think sometimes vendors have a chance of covering their butts way too much for my liking. If I know what's happening, is that my 10-minute mark? 10-minute mark. If there's a question that I haven't answered, you all tell them you got plenty there. Anyway, 10 minutes. Honesty. I don't want to hear the excuse. I want to hear the truth. So if you don't have enough render power, just tell me. Just tell me. Because you know what? The unfortunate part of having been doing this for so long, and plenty in the facility world and plenty in the production world, and working with just about every studio and done every size of movie from 300 shots to almost 3,000. This is where we are probably going to be with Avengers. 3,000 shots is a lot of shots. We know what's happening. I have a sense of what's happening in your facility. It's my job to know it. I have a pretty good trained nose for BS. And I will go and I'll find it. And when I find it, it's going to be a really bad conversation. You know what I'm saying over there, young man. He was smiling big. It wasn't you. I know, I love you. So just be honest. Just say, this is what it is. We had a company do that with us on Guardians, and they said, the reason why you're not seeing anything is because we're finishing this. This is my lineup. This is how I'm doing it. You're going to have this day, and they were dead on. And I was like, nice, thank you. Because then you stop worrying. You know what I mean? If you know what's happening, you stop hyperventilating yourself. I mean, at some point in time, you lose sleep over not having what you need to have. And that eases the pain. So stay honest. There's no issue that we can't fix together. And this is what I'm saying to you. Vendors are partners to me. I have been a vendor. I wanted production to treat me this way, and they never treated me this way. So I'm telling you, I treat you the way I wanted to be treated when I was on the other side. And I do that all the time. There's nothing I won't do to you that I don't want done to myself. I want to have an open communication, because in truth, we can get through all of it. The minute that there are excuses and lies, it's over. Wow. That sounded...
I'm just going to let that sit there. We do have a few more minutes. Might be a good place for some questions if anybody's got anything. Oh, right here.
Lydia Bottegoni, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, no, I'll ask you a question. Clearly, there's a lot of smart, talented people in your group. Lots of strategic thinking. Great team. The stuff you talk about is sort of the stuff dreams are made of. I have to imagine in 8 years, there's been some time somewhere where you just got lucky. Do you have a story that you can think of where that's true? Where it wasn't all the great minds, but you just got lucky?
I get lucky every day. I mean, I get lucky every day. I think that we underestimate our own capabilities. I think that I never thought that we will have a Thanos on Guardians, and we got lucky, and we had no time to go, and Luma came and just nailed it. Everyone turned me down, by the way, except for everybody. I'm talking about everyone said there's not enough time, and Luma said, okay, we'll do it. And I said, you can't disappoint me here. I'm going out on a limb. I mean, I'd rather go and say no than, hi Kieran, to say no than, and they said, no, we can do it. And we did a phenomenal Thanos, which is the biggest bad force in the universe, in the Marvel universe. But we get lucky every day. I mean, I can tell you from PAs that come without knowing a thing, that they just wow you with their kindness and their capability and their being ready for it, to directors that come in and they throw it all out there, and you go, wow, what a gift. And we thought you had gifts, and then all of a sudden you brought this extra bag of goodies, and it's like, what a pleasure. So if I'm trying to think of a specific moment, but it's really hard because, to be honest, since Olivia was born, the last 4 years, it's just one big blur. And the 4 years before that at Marvel was a bigger blur. So now it's like a double blur. So I'm just, listen, my dad died when he was 40 years old. I'm 48 years old. Every year that I live in this planet, I am encouraged, fascinated, grateful, humbled, honored. So when you think, when are you lucky? I'm lucky every day. So I count every day is a good day.
So, let's take another question. Then I'm going to take us into a different direction. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is more. Wait a minute. It was more about making the jump from visual effects into the production process. How difficult was that, and what was the biggest adjustment you had to deal with?
Fill the gap. If you leave here today with something in your brain, fill the gap. I've made a career out of filling the gap. And I tell you what that means for me. There's been plenty times when I could have let my ego get in the way. And I didn't, because I filled the gap. When I got my first go at DD, I was coordinating for a production company, and they invited me because Ed Olbricht's assistant had broken her leg, and the fax machine was too far at DD. Franco will remember this probably. And they said, would you come and help us? Her leg is broken. I was like, well, I was thinking to myself, but that's like I'm coordinating. And I said, I didn't have a job. And I said, yes, I'll come over. It was close to my house. Fill the gap. When somebody else didn't get the job, when my dear friend Eileen Moran, rest in peace, we miss her, she and I went out for the Weta job. Stayed in the same hotel, flew together. She got it. I didn't get it. She said to me, would you take over Cats and Dogs? I could have let my ego in the way. And I said, yes, I will do that. You'll be in good hands. Fill the gap. When Marvel said, would you do this for us after Iron Man 1 to Lou and I? Would you join us? And I said, yes, but I want to have all of it. And they said, well, there's a gap. Fill the gap. Fill the gap. I make coffee for everyone. Anyone that wants it, I'll make it. Fill the gap. I remember there was a conversation with the director who walked in for an interview, and I said, would you like some coffee? He goes, oh, you don't have to make me coffee. And I said, no, we're going to make it together in the kitchen. Come, I'll show you how the machine works. And I said, you put this here. Come on, you do it. Press the button. Yeah, that's my coffee. And now, how would you like your coffee? Fill the gap. Fill the gap. Stop letting your ego get in the way, because you will be what you're supposed to be, and it's there for you. But don't let the ego get in the way. That's what we do at Marvel so well, and I know you're interested in our process. Our process is mostly we forget who we are, and what we do is what's best for the story. We fill the story gap. For me in the production, I'm the same person that I worked for. I worked for Brooke Breton when she was at Digital Domain, and I used to say to myself, I want to be like her. I want to be an executive producer that has a child and has a husband and has a great job and comes to work and shines through the morning with her little curly blonde hair. And I thought, I want to be that way. I want to be that way. I want to have that job and inspire people and have a family. And I had no idea how to do it. Fill the gap. Fill the gap. The journey's there for you. You will find challenges along the way. Things are different, but you are who you are, and you give it your best. And at the end of the day, if that's not the place for you, there's some other gap you have to fill somewhere else. So you got to go. But fill the gap. That would be what I would say to you and to all those young engineers, artists out there in the world. Fill the gap. Don't say no because you're an animator. Go on roto, go track, go rig. It doesn't matter. You'll get to animate at some point in time. Fill that gap. The journey will get you there.
Bob Coleman.
Thank you. Victoria, can you comment on the $330 million in tax incentives that are now going to be available in the next 5 years? And will Marvel be tapping into that? How does that affect Marvel, if at all?
We want to make movies in LA, so we're ready. If the government is ready, we're ready. I mean, I don't know that that's ready to go yet. Maybe you guys know more than I do, because I'm not that aware that it's ready. I thought it was a 2015, 2016 endeavor. But whenever it's there, we would like to shoot. Listen, we live here. We want to stay here. It's not good for us to be around the world with our families. We do it because we have to, but we try not to, but what are you going to do? So we will be happy to commute in a horrendous traffic of LA just to be at home every night. And here's what I would say, one thing. I know this is the end, but this is a good one to do the end. You're a very kind man, by the way. The fire that you see here is quite metaphoric. I know it's supposed to give you ambiance. If you are in visual effects, your butt should be burning every day, peoples, because we are creating things that we don't know how, we don't know when, but we said yes to. This is the fire that should be burning in your belly, on your chair. I feel like I sit on that plenty, about 14 hours a day. That's how you feel, because if you don't have that urge, you can't create it. You have to get out there and have the urge and inspire those men and women to get it out there and create it. The amazing creativity that comes from visual effects, the allowance that we give it to the story so that we can travel through worlds that we don't have, through galaxies that do not exist, through characters that nobody loved before and now they adore. That is your power. Every single one of you has that power. Some of you have had a chance to do it. Some of you are about to do it Monday. Some of you will do it in 2015. Who knows? But you have that power, and you have to be able to take it with you everywhere you go. Fill the gap. It's important that you do that. And remember, when in doubt, if you let the ego talk, ask yourselves, am I going to like myself after I say that? I've made a couple of mistakes in my career, and those are mistakes that are with me every second of my commuting time. Why did I say that? So remember, you pay for it. If it makes you happy that day, so be it. But if it doesn't, fill the gap and move forward and do your best. The fire in your belly is what will drive us to the most beautiful imagery. I think we have so much to say and so many stories to tell with the beautiful imagery that we create that I think this industry hasn't even seen half of it. Half of it. And we're all going to be wowed when we go to the Academy Awards and we have these 10 movies in a little bit. When is it? I don't know. Kate Mantelini's is closed. What are we going to do? Somebody should buy a house there and have a party nearby or something. Right? I mean, like, I'm having Mantelini's, like, moment there. So the most important thing is what's coming is 10 times better. 10 times better. I can assure you that. Thank you for coming this morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Victoria Alonso.